Outpost 9 floated in the far edge of Sector Velta. It was a busy trade station, where hundreds of species came together to trade food, minerals, and machines. The station wasn't fancy, but it worked. Ships landed, deals were made, and rules were followed. Officer Revik was on patrol that day. He was a tall, thin alien with rough green skin and 4 eyes. Like most Krell guards, he believed his job gave him power. He liked making others feel small, especially species weaker than his own. That morning, a human trader arrived. The man was quiet, calm, and alone. His ship was small. His clothes simple. He carried no weapons, just a small crate marked medical supplies, human use only. He stepped into the trading hall and placed the crate near his stall. Officer Revik noticed him and frowned. "Humans again," he muttered to another guard. "Always walking like they owned the place." The human said nothing. He simply waited. Other traders came to look at his supplies. Some asked questions. He answered politely, but didn't smile. Revik didn't like that dot. He walked over and tapped the crate with his foot. "What's in here?" he asked. "Medicine," the human replied. "Let me see," Revik said. "You're not authorized to open it," the human said, calmly. Revik's eyes narrowed. "You telling me what I can't do? You're on Krell territory. I decide what's allowed." "It's Earth property," the human said. "Touch it, and Earth will respond," Revik laughed. "What will your people do? Cry?" And then he slapped the human. It wasn't hard. Just a quick strike across the face. A sign of disrespect. A way to show who was in charge. Everyone around froze. The human didn't fight back. He didn't yell. He stood still, looked Revik in the eye, and said 5 words quietly. "You just broke the rule." Revik laughed again. "What rule?" But others in the hall were not laughing. A gray-skinned merchant grabbed her things and walked away fast. A trader from the Juno Empire closed his booth and ran. Even Revik's fellow guards looked uneasy. The human picked up his crate and walked out. Silent, calm, Revik watched him go and shrugged. Coward. That night, Outpost 9's main communications array went dark. It wasn't broken. It was simply off. No one knew why. Then power in the cargo bay failed. Then the lights in the docking ring. Then cameras on 3 decks showed static. Ships in orbit began reporting strange black shadows moving faster than any scanner could track. By morning, Outpost 9 was under lockdown. No one could leave. No one could enter. And every screen on the station blinked once, then showed a message in red. Violation recorded. Response in progress. Commander Zelen, who led Outpost 9, gathered his officers. Who was the violation against? He asked. Revik didn't speak. An officer raised a hand. "Sir, there was an incident yesterday. A human was struck by Revik." Zelen turned slowly toward Revik. "A human?" Revik nodded. "Just one. He was being difficult." Zelen's face went pale. He opened a locked drawer, pulled out a small data crystal, and inserted it into the command console. It played an old recording 50 years old. In the video, an alien general shouted at a group of humans. Then he struck one with the back of his hand. Seconds later, fire fell from the sky. Ships exploded. Buildings crumbled. And a Terran warship appeared, massive, black, and quiet. No warning, no message, just destruction. The video ended with 5 words. "You touched one of ours." Revik's voice shook. That was real." Zelen didn't reply. He was already sending evacuation orders, but it was too late. In orbit, a strange vessel had arrived. No name. No signal. No lights. Just one thing marked on its hull. Terror Response Unit 7. Back on the station, people were packing, hiding, running. And the human? Gone. No one had seen him since. But everywhere, across Outpost 9, Screens now showed a countdown. Red numbers ticking down from 12 hours. Revik stood in the center of the trading hall, now empty, and whispered to himself, "I just slapped a human." And in that silence, with the countdown ticking, he finally understood what that meant. Asterisk, 12 hours. That was all the time left when the countdown appeared. People across Outpost 9 were in chaos. Doors were locked. Elevators shut down. Ships were grounded. No messages could be sent out. It was as if the station had become a cage, with everyone trapped inside. Commander Zelen stood on the bridge, staring at the screen. The Terran ship hadn't moved. It didn't power weapons. It didn't send threats. It didn't need to. Revik sat in a holding cell now, silent, pale, and sweating. He didn't argue. He didn't speak. His eyes just watched the countdown as it ticked. 11:22, 11:21. The Council of Galactic Order received the news, but they were too slow to act. Messages between their systems were blocked. Every long-range relay stopped working when talking about Outpost 9. It was as if something or someone had jammed only those channels. But the Council did get one message. File. Encrypted with Terran protocols. No password needed. Just a red symbol of Earth stamped over the words. One of yours touched one of ours. The file opened to show a still image of the human trader face bruised. Crate in hand, walking away. Next image. Officer Revik's hand raised mid-slap. Final image. The Terran warship above Outpost 9. Under it, one line. Rule broken. Law will be enforced. Panic spread. On Council worlds, people protested for peace. Ambassadors sent emergency messages to Earth. No reply. An elder from the Treya. Species whispered. We told them not to touch humans again. We warned them after the Asher Wars, but they forgot. Back on Outpost 9, the quiet was worse than war. Every hour, the lights dimmed just for 2 seconds. Just enough to remind everyone that the Terran ship was still there. Watching, controlling, waiting. Commander Zelen tried to contact Earth directly. He stood before the comm screen. This is Commander Zelen of Outpost 9. We request dialogue. We offer full responsibility. The officer has been detained. No lives were lost. He paused. Sweat ran down his face. Please respond. Silence. Then, without warning a sound, a low hum. Dark and cold. It wasn't a voice. It was more like a pressure. Something that made the air feel heavier. Lights flickered again. Then the screen changed. A figure appeared. Human. Wearing black armor, helmet on. Behind him, nothing but smoke and shadow. He didn't introduce himself. He didn't speak softly. He said one sentence. The rule is clear. Don't touch a human. Zelen replied fast. We understand. It won't happen again. The officer is in custody. The figure nodded once, then added, This is not a threat. It is judgment. And vanished. Across the galaxy, that message was shared in secret. People saved it, played it back, showed it to their children. And everywhere. It became known as the Black Signal. Some tried to laugh. Some thought it was a trick, but most knew what it meant. Earth didn't speak often. When they did, it was final. On Outpost 9, the countdown reached 5 hours. The air began to change. Gravity pulled differently. Some doors opened by themselves, and in the lowest level of the station, a single pod landed silent. No one saw it come in. No alarms went off. From that pod, 3 humans stepped out, wearing long dark coats and no weapons. Their eyes glowed faint blue. The first one placed a black marker on the wall. It lit up with a hologram. Violation area marked. Law enforcement active. Commander Zelen watched from the bridge. He felt helpless. His soldiers were armed, but refused to go near the humans. One soldier whispered, I'm not going near them. You don't get second chances with Earth. Zelen didn't argue. He only hoped someone would stop what was coming. Meanwhile, Revik sat in his cell. He had stopped counting. His head was down. His hands trembled. For the first time in his life, he was afraid, not of death, but of being forgotten, erased, like the others who had broken the rule. He heard footsteps. A human woman stood outside his cell. Tall, calm, wearing black. She didn't open the door. She only said 5 words. "Your name ends today, Revik," and then walked away. The countdown ticked. 3:47, 3:46. Outpost 9 was no longer a station dot. It was now a warning. And the galaxy had begun to listen. Asterisk. The silence was not peaceful, Dot. It was the kind of silence that made your heartbeat sound loud. It wrapped itself around Outpost 9 like a blanket of warning, thick, heavy, and cold. Commander Zelen stood by the window, staring out into space. The Terran vessel was still there, unmoving, watching. It didn't glow. It didn't pulse. It was like a giant eye in the dark. Inside the station, things had changed. People whispered instead of talking. Lights flickered often, as if power was being tested. Some said it wasn't a ship out there. It was a judge. Others locked themselves in rooms and waited for the end. And deep in the station, the 3 humans who had landed walked calmly through each level. Their coats moved like shadows. They didn't speak. They didn't threaten. They just looked. Every room, every hallway, every system was scanned and marked. The black markers they placed left glowing words behind. Judgment pending. In the medbay, Dr. Vizil, a long-snouted alien healer, watched. One of the humans scanned the area. I treated your kind before," she said carefully. "I helped 2 human soldiers from the last war. I respect your people." The human said nothing, but before leaving, he placed a white symbol beside the black one. Witness, not a target. Dr. Vizil trembled with relief. Meanwhile, Revik was still in his cell. No one had spoken to him since the woman in black. Number. Food was brought. No water. Just the ticking of the countdown on the wall outside his door. 2:02, 2:01. He didn't try to escape. He didn't scream out. He simply sat with his head down, knowing his life wasn't his anymore. The galaxy outside had started to panic. Entire trade routes were abandoned. The species that once feared nothing were now recalling their diplomats and issuing orders. Do not engage with humans. Do not speak to humans unless spoken to. Do not, under any reason, touch them. It was no longer advice. It was survival. On Council World Surilis, the Elder Assembly met behind locked doors. The room was soundproof. The walls were shielded. And still they whispered, "We must send an offer to Earth. We must punish Outpost 9 ourselves. We must send a gift. Something to show we care." But one elder stood up and said what no one else dared. "We gave Earth Council status 100 years ago. We thought they'd be quiet, grateful. They weren't. We tried to control them. They evolved instead. And now, we're just hoping they choose not to burn us." No one argued. They just sat in the growing silence. Back on Outpost 9, the black ship finally moved. Just 1 inch. It tilted. And suddenly, everything in the station stopped. Doors froze. Cameras shut off. Even air systems paused for just 2 seconds. Then, one screen lit up across all levels. One face. The human woman from before, still in black. Still calm. She spoke clearly, without emotion. The rule was broken. Judgment begins now. In space, 10 small Terran drones shot out from the ship. They looked like black needles thin, fast, silent. Each entered a different part of the station. People ran, screamed, hid. But the drones didn't kill. They scanned, they marked, and one by one, The drones left glowing words behind. Cleared. Exempt. Forgiven. Punished. In the command center, Zelen's name was shown as exempt. But when the drone passed Revik's cell, it stopped, turned, scanned, and glowed red. Punished. Then it left. The humans returned to their pod. They didn't look back. They didn't speak. They simply left. The pod vanished into the shadows. And the countdown reached 0 to 0. Everyone on Outpost 9 waited for fire, for destruction, for a warhead. But nothing happened. No explosion. No lights. Just one final message, displayed across every screen on the station, and then across the entire galactic network. Outpost 9 has been judged. The rule is enforced. No further warnings. The next day, Rivik was gone. Not dead. Just erased. No one remembered his face. No record existed in the system. His name couldn't be spoken. Every time someone tried, their voice froze. He had become a ghost, a lesson. And across the galaxy, one law became the foundation of peace. Don't touch a human. Not out of love, but because Earth didn't forget, and Earth never forgave. Outpost 9 went quiet after the countdown ended. No damage. No deaths. No speeches. Just silence. But it was not peace. It was fear. Something worse than war had just happened. A message had been delivered. A rule, once whispered in fear, was now carved into galactic law. Don't touch a human. The black ship above Outpost 9 was gone. No one saw it leave. One moment it was there, watching. The next it vanished. Like it was never real. But the effects were real. Very real. Days later, on planet Daria 4, a group of mercenaries sat in a smoky bar. They were loud, drunk, and angry. One of them, a scarred warrior named Jern, slammed his cup down and shouted, "So now we all bow to Earth? One slap, and they rewrite the rules?" The others nodded. "Humans bleed just like us," someone growled. Jern leaned back and laughed. "I say we take a few credits and teach one of them a lesson. See if their ghosts come again." The bartender, an old creature with 6 eyes, turned pale. He quietly walked to the back room and pressed a single button. Human threat alert. Within minutes, the signal was sent, not to the local police, not to a nearby station, but to a Terran listening beacon. No message. No sound. Just a ping. And that was enough. In orbit around a different planet, a lone Terran ship received the ping. A woman on board read the signal and nodded. Target. Jern. Location. Daria 4. Status. Potential rule violation. She looked to the man beside her. He wore the same black uniform. Proceed? She asked. The man tapped the screen. Judgment begins. Back in the bar, Jern raised his voice again. "We'll remind this galaxy who really rules the stars." Suddenly, the lights flickered. Only once. The music stopped. Breeze unnatural in a sealed bar moved across the room. Then, a single man stepped through the front door. Human. Not tall. Not muscular. No armor. No visible weapons, but every head in the bar turned to him as if pulled by gravity. Jern narrowed his eyes. "You lost, Terran?" The human looked around the room. Then at Jern. "No," he said simply. "You are." Before Jern could answer, the human raised his hand. No gun. Just a small black disc. He dropped it to the ground. The moment it touched the floor, the room shifted. The lights dimmed to red. The air turned cold. And every screen in the city blinked, showing 5 words. Judgment. Active enforcement in progress. Back on Outpost 9, Commander Zelen saw the report come in. Rule violation detected. Daria 4. Enforcement units engaged. He stared at the screen, silent. One of his officers asked, "Should we intervene?" Zelen shook his head. "Intervene? Against them? No. We watch. And we remember. On Daria 4, chaos followed. Jurn tried to escape. His mercenary friends ran in different directions, but everywhere they turned, doors shut. Roads blocked. Civilians cleared out without a word, as if trained, and from the shadows, 3 more humans appeared. No names, no introductions. Surrounded Jurn, he screamed. He begged. He swore he'd never touched a human, but it didn't matter. He spoke the idea. He threatened a human. That was enough. One of the humans placed a marker on his chest. Intent to harm. Judgment. Final. In the next moment, Jurn vanished. No body. No blast. Just gone. As if he never existed. The bar returned to normal. People came back. Music resumed. But the chair Jurn had sat in remained empty. Untouched. And outside the bar, glowing on the wall, was a message burned into the stone. Don't test the law. Don't touch a human. Now the galaxy understood. This was not just a warning anymore. It was policy. No debates. No court. Just judgment. Terran units didn't wear medals. They didn't record their actions. They didn't celebrate. They simply enforced the one rule that mattered to Earth. A human face extinction. Even on council worlds, statues were removed. History books rewritten. Children were now taught. Never provoke Earth. Never harm a human. And if you see one in danger, help them. Or walk away. But never interfere. Back on Outpost 9, Officer Ravike's name was still gone. In fact, all records of him had vanished from galactic databases. It was as if the slap had never happened. But the lesson remained. And everyone knew this peace wasn't kindness. It was mercy. And Earth's mercy had limits. Asterisk. The galaxy was quiet, but it wasn't peace. It was obedience. The kind born from fear, not trust. On every major spaceport, giant banners now hung in black and white. They didn't show flags. They didn't show weapons. Just one sentence, written in hundreds of alien languages. One rule left: do not touch a human. Children learned it before they could count. Traders posted it above their stalls. Warships printed it on their hulls. Even pirate fleets had begun marking their maps. Human zones. Do not enter. And Earth? Earth said nothing. They didn't need to. Their silence was law. On the planet Heralis, an alien teacher stood before her class of younglings. She pointed at a large screen. It showed a still image. A human smiling kindly while offering water to an alien child. Can anyone tell me, she asked gently, what happens if this human is harmed? A small student raised one clawed hand. They come, the student whispered. Who comes? The teacher asked. The black ones. The child replied. The ones who erase. The teacher nodded, voice low. Correct. We do not speak their names. We do not see them twice. That is the law now. On Council World Rissa Prime, the ambassadors met in silence. They sat around a glass table, each species old and powerful, once rulers of systems. But now, all eyes watched Earth. One elder tapped the table slowly. We once made hundreds of laws. Trade laws, order laws, military laws. He paused. Now there is one. Another ambassador whispered. One law, and it has more power than our entire code. They all knew why. Because Earth didn't ask for permission. They didn't vote. They simply responded. Quick, quiet, final, and never twice. In the dark edges of space, smugglers still talked, but they spoke carefully. I once knew a guy, one whispered, who pushed a human on a mining planet. What happened? He disappeared. Dead? No, worse, forgotten. The smugglers nodded. Not one of them leaned closer. The humans. They never said why the rule matters so much. Another replied, maybe it's not about power. Then what? Maybe it's about memory. Maybe they remember every single one who was hurt. And they never stop watching. Back on Outpost 9, the trading halls were full again. Ships came. Deals were made. But one thing had changed. Now, if a human walked through the station, people stepped aside. They didn't run. They didn't fear for their lives. They feared disrespect. They feared being marked. They feared the silence that followed. Commander Zelen noticed it first. He watched as a young human technician dropped a tool. 3 different species rushed to pick it up. One of them even bowed slightly while handing it back. The human just smiled, said, "Thank you," and walked away. Zelen turned to his new officer. "Do you see?" The officer nodded. "Yes, sir. The humans didn't take power. We gave it to them." "No," Zelen replied, voice quiet. "We forced them to take it." In a distant corner of the galaxy, a war began. 2 empires. Old enemies. Hundreds of ships gathered on each side. Weapons ready, engines hot. The war almost started. But then, a single Terran scout ship drifted between both fleets. No lights. No shields. Just a symbol glowing across its hull. Observe only. Both fleets stopped. Not a word spoken, not a missile fired. Within hours, they agreed to a truce. Not because they wanted peace, but because Earth was watching. And when Earth watched, no one moved. On that same day, an old message was found, buried in one of Earth's deep archives. It was a short video clip centuries old. A young human soldier stood in armor, facing a camera. He said only this: "We are not your rulers. We don't want your thrones. But hurt one of us, even once, and we will show you what silence can do. This isn't hate. This is memory." The screen went black. Underneath, only one word: remember. The galaxy remembered. And now, every law was dust. Every council ruling gone. Every empire's pride forgotten. There was only one rule left. Simple. Final. Unbreakable. Don't single quotes T touch a human. And in the shadows of space, in the black halls of Earth's silent ships, Deathworlders smiled, because the galaxy finally understood. Asterisk. It happened without warning. No alarms. No ships. No threats. Just every screen on every world turned black at the exact same second. From the wealthiest throne worlds to the dust-covered mining colonies, from orbiting warships to undersea outposts, the silence was broken by one thing. A single signal. A broadcast. From Earth. The screen stayed dark at first. No face, no logo. Only a soft pulse of light like a heartbeat. Then a calm, steady voice spoke. Human. Male. No name. No emotion. This message is for the galaxy. One time only. We are Earth. You know us. You've seen our power. But many still ask why the rule? Why is hurting a human the line you do not cross? The screen lit up. Images flashed, each one shown only for a second. A child on a destroyed colony world. A medic shielding a wounded alien during the Asher Wars. A lone human soldier holding off 10 attackers so refugees could escape. A funeral. A flag folded. Tears. The voice continued. Because long ago, we were weak. We were hunted, used. We begged for peace. You gave us pain. We asked for mercy. You gave us chains. But now, we are no longer begging. The images changed. Earth's black fleet emerging from a wormhole. Deathworlders standing in perfect silence. On burning soil. A Terran warship passing through an enemy armada untouched. The symbol, a human hand, palm open with a single red line through it. The rule is not about revenge. It's about the cost. You break it and we respond. not with words, not with warnings, with silence, with deletion, with memory. The officer on Outpost 9 broke the rule. He no longer exists. That is judgment. To all species, we see you, we hear you, we help those who ask. But if you harm a human even once, you are judged. Final, unseen, forgotten. At that moment, millions of beings across. The stars stopped breathing. No one moved. No one dared speak. And then the screen faded, black again, but one final line glowed in bright white. This was the final broadcast. There will be no more warnings. The galaxy changed that day, not through war, not through destruction, but through truth. Now, even criminals who once hunted freely stayed away from Terran zones. Mercenaries crossed entire systems just to avoid trading posts with human flags. Some planets went further, installing statues of Terran soldiers, not as conquerors, but as guardians. A silent way of saying, we respect the rule. We remember. On a farming moon near the edge of known space, an alien child saw a human visitor walking alone. She ran toward him and asked, "Are you the kind the galaxy fears?" The human knelt and smiled. "No," he said. "We're just the kind no one listens to until it's too late." She blinked. "Why don't you fight anymore?" "We don't have to," he said gently. "One rule is enough now." Back on Outpost 9, life had returned to normal. Mostly. But in the heart of the command center, a display was kept on at all times. It didn't show star maps or orders. It showed the rule, etched in glowing text: do not touch a human. And beside it, a small black disk sat in a case. Untouched. UNMOVING. But everyone knew if it ever activated again, the silence would return. Across the stars, songs were written, books rewritten, cultures reshaped. Not because Earth had conquered them, but because Earth had shown the galaxy something they had forgotten. Some rules don't need governments. Some laws don't need courts. Just memory. And judgment. And so the galaxy moved forward, with one rule above all: don't touch a human. Because now, everyone understood. It wasn't about fear of warships. It wasn't about fear of death. It was the fear of being forgotten. The fear of the silence. The fear of Earth remembering. Asterisk.